A man who called himself the Vandalizer has been arrested for selling videos of himself contaminating food at a restaurant that he worked at. Jace Hanson was a worker at a restaurant in Kansas called Hereford House. But Jace had higher ambitions than just working at a restaurant. He didn't like his job and he didn't like how much money he was making. So he decided he wanted to build an online fan base and he wanted to give them something unique. So what was his big idea? Well, he decided to start taking videos of himself rubbing various kinds of food on different body parts before the food was served to customers at the restaurant. The most PG one I can mention here is him putting his feet onto food that people were about to eat, and I'm sure you can imagine some of the rest. Then he also decided to put various things into people's food, and the only one that I'll mention, or can mention, is that he was spitting in some people's food. Then he took the videos that he made and he went on places like Snapchat and sold the Vandalizer videos to his new adoring fans. Now, a local newspaper reported on some of the actual titles of his videos. I don't know if he wanted to be the Mr. Beast of Snapchat, but the Vandalizer's videos were titled things like Spitting on Everything in Restaurant Part 2 and Urinating in the Serving Sauce Again. The FBI got a tip about all this from someone who'd seen one of the videos online somewhere. They decided to trace the Vandalizer's phone, and they actually tracked him down without knowing who he was. They found him in his car outside the restaurant. One of the local police officers who was there looked down at his shoes and recognized them as having appeared in 3 of the Vandalizer videos. They confronted the Vandalizer and he admitted what he'd done. He said that he was making these videos for other men online and that he'd find the men on places like Grindr, Sniffies, and Scruff. Then he'd get on Snapchat, talk to them, and sell them the videos. He started giving the police an info dump on every weird thing he'd been doing there. He said he'd urinated in the restaurant's special sauce, he'd rubbed salmon on himself that was then served on people, and he'd urinated in the pickles, and he admitted to doing this more than 20 times. He says he started doing all this because he didn't like his job, but once he became the Vandalizer, he actually started enjoying working there. Mr. Hanson told police that his final act as the Vandalizer was to take all the lettuce at the restaurant, place it down his pants, and then put it back in a storage tray to be served to customers later. Police then went inside the restaurant, talked to the head chef, and did a virtual photo lineup where they showed him a bunch of the Vandalizer's videos and asked him to identify the food that was in them. And the chef confirmed that it was his special sauce, but said they had nothing to do with anything this guy was doing. 5 different lawsuits have been filed by people who say they got symptoms similar to food poisoning from food that they ate while the Vandalizer worked there. Now, the restaurant says that this guy only worked there a month, and they say they fully sanitized and thoroughly cleaned the kitchen since he was there. They also say that they're cooperating with the police fully. The Vandalizer's in jail on a $500,000 bond. He's facing dozens of felonies, and the judges said he can't work anywhere that serves food. And it only got worse for him when police checked his hard drive. The Kansas City Star, which is a local newspaper, is reporting that they found some of the worst kind of images that you can imagine, the kinds of things you might expect this guy to have on his hard drive. And they also found him chatting with some of these people that he was meeting online about infants. So he is facing 10 more felonies for that behavior as well.